Hi, everyone, and welcome to our segment, Business Owners with Parkinsons. I'm your host, Jessica Krauser, and I'm here with my co-host, Brian Baker.
Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Wonderful.
And today we have a special guest. We have Dave Kolbe with us in the house.
Great to be with you guys.
Hello. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing great.
Good. All right. In a previous session, or previous episode, I guess, Brian and I shared how we talked to our family, we talked to our coworkers about our diagnosis. But Dave, you're a little special. You have a unique situation. You are the employer. You are the owner of a company. You own your own construction business, correct?
Yeah.
And you were diagnosed 3 years ago or 5 years ago?
About 5 years ago. Yeah.
5 years ago. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first things first, Dave, how old are you?
I am 60.
And how long have you owned your business?
We started in 1996.
And how long have you adored Christina Aguilera?
Oh my goodness, don't get me started.
Okay, sorry. So talk to us about your Parkinson's journey. Like, what symptoms led you to your diagnosis?
Well, it was 2016 I started getting a tremor in my left hand and wasn't sure what it was. And so I went and saw my family doctor. And he suggested I go see a neurologist. But at the same time, unfortunately, I was also diagnosed with cancer.
You were?
Yeah.
What kind?
Prostate cancer.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I figured that we better handle that one first.
Right.
Like at the same time?
Exactly the same time. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And so we took care of that. And so I finally went to the neurologist in April of 2017.
So that was 2016. You did that.
Yeah, yeah. And like so many of us, we go through some not so great situations.
Mm-hmm.
I went through 3 doctors, but I was diagnosed in April of 2017. And like many of us also, I just kind of went through denial. It was just a mild tremor, I can deal with this. It's not really, it's okay, it's Parkinson's, but nobody knows it. I don't need to, I told my wife, but that I can deal with it, and I can still keep going with life as normal. So that's what I did for I started working out with Melissa in December of 2017.
Okay.
And that's really when I kind of just decided that I really need to attack this thing.
So you were diagnosed with cancer and Parkinson's at the same time. Is there anything different that they had to do when you were going through your cancer treatments?
Well, the cancer treatment with prostate, luckily, if you're going to get cancer, that's the one to get for men because it's very slow.
Okay.
It was actually more aggressive than they thought once they did it, but I just basically had it removed. I didn't go through any treatments. I didn't have to go through chemo, any of those kind of things. So it was just kind of a one and done. I just get rid of it, and I was somewhat cured. I still had to go through tests and everything for a few years to make sure that it was gone, but it's been good.
When did you start then with medication for Parkinson's?
Well, I really pushed medication off for a long time.
Why?
Because the dyskinesia that medication can cause with some people, and that was the thing that I really was worried about. And with the doctor I have now, he's really educated me much better on that. I was probably, I bet you, 3 years before I started medication. I did a lot of research on the effects of working out and how that would help you. Mm-hmm. So I kind of hit that really, really hard, the working out. Probably went overboard a little bit too much, but and I think that really helped, but you have to get a balance, and that's one of the things also with working full-time, owning a business. I'm also a scuba instructor, so I was teaching scuba regularly. So I had that going on. So my life was pretty full. And then now I had to add in, daily working out, exercise. But realizing that it was about that time I really realized that the exercise was probably the most important thing I can do. So I kind of made that the priority.
So Jessica and I both have talked about we were pretty out front with our diagnosis and coming out. What's been your experience? How did you handle that?
Well, it's interesting because the first diagnosis with the doctor that wasn't so great. I remember coming back to the office. My wife at that time worked with, her and I started the business and we've worked together. And so she was in the office and I came in. And unfortunately, as you guys know, Parkinson's can also cause a lot of emotions. that are hard to control. Which with me, I get very emotional and I don't know where that came. I never knew where that came from up until about 10 years ago. Now I know where it came from, but I can track it back about that far. And both of us just kind of broke down. I told her what my diagnosis was. I wasn't expecting it. She wasn't expecting it. We thought maybe it was essential tremors or something. And told her about it, told my workers about it. My workers, fortunately, my workers are all family also. I have a nephew-in-law. My daughter works for me. So it was all family. So the family knew pretty quick. As far as workers, or as far as clients and work people, I have a few clients that I've worked with for 20 plus years. And so I thought it was really important to let them know what was going on, because they were going to start noticing some differences in me. But I think it probably was about a year after my diagnosis, before I started telling any of my clients that I had it.
How did they take it? Did they have any?
Because they know me so well. I mean, it's interesting because the people that I have told, it's never come back up after I've told them. It's never been brought up. I'm actually getting ready to tell another really good client next week. Because I've started working with them a lot more lately, and they're gonna notice something's going on, and I just rather get it out in the open up front. And I think my biggest fear in telling any of my clients, was that it's like you guys have talked about so much in your podcast, that there's people don't know about it, and they don't know what it is, and they think, oh my, and you see, oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for what you're going through, and it's not. I mean, it's bad, but we can live with it.
So do you find yourself educating your clients, but other people, educating them at that same time to lessen their fear?
Yeah, I do. And the interesting thing too is when you say, I was diagnosed 5 years ago, but I've got symptoms that go back probably 10 or 15 years that I can track. So I've had it all this time, and
Didn't know.
and I was able to do, perform what you need me to perform. So nothing's changed. So getting them to realize that has been, I think, a key thing. And for the people I've told, it's been a non-issue.
So what about stress? Like, I know stress, Jess kind of talked about stress in the workplace, and like when I've had jobs that, it just added to my symptoms. I can't imagine being a business owner, being responsible for your income, your family's income, your daughter's income, your nephews, your family that works for you. They're all counting on you. How do you handle the stress?
Well, with Parkinson's, so the things you do normally day to day, normal people do day to day. I say normal people, but
We're kind of normal.
But yeah, well, but things that you do every day that you don't realize have any stressors in it. But there's an underlying stressor that you never know.
Yeah.
With Parkinson's, it comes out. So there's things that I've done that I normally do every day before that would not show any symptoms, but now just underlying things, just meeting with a client, or meeting with one of my subcontractors or whoever, just the underlying stress that I don't feel stress, but all of a sudden the tremors start. So stress absolutely is a big issue. One of the things my doctor gave me to help with that was propranolol.
Oh yeah.
And that's a inhibitor of adrenaline. It's an adrenaline inhibitor, and I found that's really helpful. I'll take one of those. I took one before I came into the here today, just to help the symptoms, or the tremors. So that's really been helpful. I'm finding myself taking more and more of that recently, because the symptoms are progressing and things are getting a little worse. And I did take the whole month of January off, which I've never done, and that made a huge difference.
Yeah, but
I worked remotely.
You redid your house.
Yeah, but those things, it's fun for me. And but now I've been back for almost 2 months since then, or a month and a half, and I can feel the stress building up again, and I'm realizing that I'm going to have to deal with different things, and what you do is you have to realize early on that you have to get things in order. You have to get people in order to handle to be able to delegate to. So it's just managing what's coming, and the stressors and those kind of things.
So that's what I was going to ask you. How has Parkinson's changed your outlook on your business? Like you just said you're starting to get backup plans or other things. What did you do right away to prepare you for the unknown?
For me, it was putting the right people in place, having, we're actually working on right now, because it is a family business, allowing our family to, the workers that our family to buy into the business.
Oh, nice.
So they have a little skin in the game, and they're going to, it's a little bit of theirs also. And I'm the type of person that, I've owned the business. I built the business. My wife and I built the business for 25 years now, almost 26 years. And I feel guilty taking time off because I'm a worker. I want to work all the time. And I get my enjoyment out of it. I get fulfillment from it. So taking off is really tough for me. But I know I need to do that. But by making them part of the company, an integral part of the company, I don't feel as bad doing that. That's because, they're working for themselves too.
I think that's a really good point, because if you didn't open that part up, you wouldn't have the ability to see what it's like to take off a month and realize a lot of what we're doing, or a lot of the symptoms we feel, we're putting on ourselves, because of the stresses. So now that you had that time to take a month, now you can see it's like, okay, when work is set aside, life isn't, or symptoms aren't that bad. They're still bad, but you can manage it a little bit better. So I think that's great what you're doing with your company.
It's taken me, and my wife would tell you that it's taken me a little longer. Even my employees and my family that's around me would tell you it's taken me a little bit longer than it should have. I should have realized it sooner. I'm telling you, you need to do this. And I'm a little bullheaded when it comes to that, but most business owners are, I think. And it just took me a while to realize it. And you want to do it before you have to do it. I guess that's the important thing. If you have to do it, I think it's too late, because now you're reacting and you're not planning ahead to make sure that things are in place for you. And my hope is, I'm 60, my hope is at 80 I'm still doing something in the business. I want to keep doing this. I love doing what I do. I have no desire to retire and just go off into the blue. I want to keep doing this. So in order to keep doing this, I need to manage it properly.
I want to retire in 10 years.
I can retire tomorrow if they don't. I know.
Like, how do we make it happen faster? No, that's awesome.
So what about your exercise program? Because I think you're a beast. I mean,
my God,
you ran what, 5-10 Ks recently, half marathon, something like that.
It goes up the stairs every Sunday, right?
Yeah, I run the stairs at Alum Creek every Sunday. I did like 2,500 steps this weekend. And then I do, at the top of every stair, I do 15 push-ups.
Of course you do.
So there was 300 push-ups and 2,500 steps or something like that. And I love to trail run, so I've gotten into trail running, unfortunately, and I have 2 hip replacements too.
Oh my God!
But I love.
I feel like crap. Like he's older than us, and he just
hips.
I love to trail run. I did it was the end of February. They have a local run, and it's called Rocks and Roots, and it's no matter what the weather's like, you run it. Mud, snow, ice.
You got to be careful, though.
Yeah, and but I love the trail running because obviously balance is an issue with Parkinson's, right? So it really makes me focus on the balance. You're watching for rocks and roots, and do I go down? Yeah, sometimes I go down, but it's just so, for me, it's very enjoyable to get out on the trails and run.
I don't like running, period. I can do without cardio.
And of course, with Melissa, she's been phenomenal for all of us. The workouts there. What's great about it is I'm working. I mean, your age, you're 40, just recently.
Yes.
And I'm 60, and I'm working out. And there's 80-year-olds next to me.
Yeah. And
we're doing the same workouts, but the workouts are made to make
push you,
to push each person to their abilities, and we know that exercise helps Parkinson's, right? So why go there and just go through the motions? Because going through the motions, you're only fooling yourself. So why not push yourself, every day, push yourself to the max of what you can do.
He made me push myself today. Thank you.
And aren't you glad?
I am glad. I am.
You complained a little bit about it.
I did.
Deep down,
I'll
know it
bitch
was
about
what's
anything
best.
But you work out at what? You do like a 5, because you get up early too.
I do 5:45s on Zoom. That's the other thing, because of work. I only work out in the gym once a week. because I'm usually at work early. So, but she does a 5:45 workout 2 days a week. So I do that Zoom workout with her 2 days a week, and then I lift 3 days a week, and then I do the stairs. And so 3 days with Melissa, 3 days lifting, and then 1 day on the stairs. So,
Having a job and then having like a second job.
yeah, the scuba thing is taking it backstage because I just knew that had to happen. I teach very seldom anymore. I still dive a lot. I do 1 or 2 dive trips a year. But the teaching, and the other thing about teaching is I'm lecturing in front of a class, for an hour before we actually get into the pool, and then we're going to open water and things like that. But the lecturing part has become very difficult. And, if you're taking scuba lessons, the last thing you want to hear is that your instructor has Parkinson's disease. Because people don't know what Parkinson's, is. And so now all of a sudden, what am I getting myself into?
Have trouble turning
Why
your
is this
air
guy
on.
shaking so bad up here, So
He's
I've
scared.
had to back
Deal
off
with
on that
that.
quite a bit, yeah. But that's all right.
Well, thank you for coming in. We really appreciate it.
It's been great.
In our last 30 seconds, I'll leave you with this. Not only does Parkinson's look different person to person, but the effect it has on their lives is different as well. Dave owns his own company, travels with his wife, scuba dives, exercises daily, and he will continue to do so until the disease forces him to stop or change directions. Others might have to change their career or stop altogether based on the severity of their situation, so just keep in mind, although we can't control how Parkinson's will affect us, we can control everything else about our lives. So stay in the driver's seat. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Dave.